But we're going to continue moving forward with the repercussions, I think you might say, of the Israeli genocide in Gaza and move to Yemen, which is becoming increasingly targeted by the United States and other powers. We are very happy to welcome back to the show Jehan Hakim, who is the chair of the Yemeni Alliance Committee. Jehan, thank you so much for being back with us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I don't know if you might be muted, that might be on our end. Oh,
we hear you.
We got you.
Or not. Okay, thank you for having me.
We do.
No, perfect. Thanks so much for coming back. And let me just ask you this. The United States has announced this new military task force to quote unquote protect the Red Sea, but it obviously seems to just be sort of a threat against Yemen, really, for their solidarity with Palestine. And I'm curious your perspective. Do you actually deter Yemen from standing down in terms of the solidarity they've been expressing?
No, I don't think Yemenis went into this with any level of cover or safety from the U.S. or other powers. No one has had Yemen's back, right? Their intentions were to take action to specifically stop Israel's genocide of Palestinians. Yemenis know very well what the U.S. is capable of from personal experience. You know, they've experienced a genocide firsthand. U.S.-made bombs dropped on Yemen for over 7 years. So, you know, solidarity is not safe, right? Whether it's protesting, engaging in civil disobedience, which so many folks from around the globe are doing as we speak, because they too agree that the genocide of Palestinians is immoral and it must be stopped. Over 150 countries voted for a ceasefire. We're even hearing countries cutting off ties with Israel and booting their ambassadors from their countries. So Yemenis are merely leveraging that position, the only position they have to speak up against Israel's actions, even if a response will come at their expense. You know, and I pray that it doesn't cost Yemen more violence and more bloodshed. If anything, Yemen is showing the world what a true ally looks like. I'm happy to see Malaysia's government following, their lead. And I think I'm hearing some chatter too online from Chinese warships refusing to assist Israeli cargo ships in the Red Sea. So I think what really needs to be highlighted in this very moment is that the Biden administration has had ample time to de-escalate and work towards peace building. And instead, they quickly assembled a 10-nation coalition to directly attack the Red Sea, threatening Yemen. So when will the U.S. stand for the American people and stop engaging in endless and expensive wars in the Middle East with our taxpayer dollars?
You know, another aspect of this is the way it's portrayed. It's pretty widespread in the mainstream. It's this accusation that the Yemeni government doesn't actually represent Yemen, but actually represents a faction, this like tribal militia that seized power in a very underhanded way. How do you respond to those sorts of claims?
You know, Yemen has had factions for a very long time. In modern times, it's went back from being divided into two parts, north and south, to a unified one ruled under a 30-year dictator, Yahya Saree. Prior to 2010, the Saudis, who used to work closely with the Houthis, who didn't even refer to them as Shia or backed by Iran, they were buddies, and then during the Arab Spring, everyone united against Yahya Saree, the Houthis and the Islah, all the other factions in Yemen, the South and the marginalized. All Yemenis were eager for change. So the Houthis have their own history, and there's a list of grievances against them. But I will say about the Houthis is that they have won the war in Yemen with no air force or navy. So some look at them as a resistance. Others look at them as, like you mentioned, a rebel group. But they consider themselves as a government of Sana'a, who have control of over 70 to 80% of Yemen. And inhabitants in those areas feel relatively safe.
One of the things I think is related to this, and you mentioned it, is this, Yemen is just a proxy of Iran, and everything that's happening is just being determined by Iran, and it's just a puppet force there. And I'm curious, what you think about that, and also just even the idea that, other countries like the United States have the right to even dictate who Yemen does decide to have relationships or work with.
Yeah, we really have to remember that Yemen is a sovereign country, which essentially means that no other nation, be it Iran or the U.S., has the authority to control its territory. Yet we're always hearing war proponents calling the Houthis or Ansarullah Iran-backed, Iran-aligned. It's a deliberate use of language to plant hatred against Yemenis, because anytime you mention Iran respectfully, the Middle East's supposed biggest boogie monster, it's an easy low blow to the issue. Yemen's history ever since the British Empire has proven that they don't take kindly to invasions, occupations, and any level of foreign control, even from our fellow Arab neighbors. The American public is being led to believe something that's not true. It's actually highly offensive to rob Yemen's agency and reduce their autonomy to merely being a proxy. I think Washington uses these labels largely to rationalize the U.S. support for the genocidal bombing campaign by the Saudis and the Emiratis. Yemenis rule Yemen, period.
And, Jehan, we've talked about this before, but I do think it deserves to be mentioned again. Can you talk a bit about the humanitarian situation in Yemen? Much like, Gaza, Sudan, the Congo, Yemen is one of the world's worst humanitarian crises at the moment.
Yeah, all of these humanitarian crises, we just have to remember to name them, that they're man-made. The UN says that 2/3 of the population of Yemen, that's over 20 million Yemenis, require humanitarian assistance. And over 4 million Yemenis are displaced by the war. And then the Saudi-imposed blockade of Yemen is still in place as the principal cause of the humanitarian catastrophe, denying food and medicine into the country, coupled with the World Food Program cut aid into the north of Yemen about a little over a week ago. There's a little bit of data here that's very painful for me to share, but 1 in 5 Yemeni children could starve to death. That is a very painful and slow death that is preventable. Food is being used to collectively punish a people, and it's happening in Gaza as well. We hear about the role of the U.S. In Sudan and the Congo. And Israel has hands in all of those places as well. And I think it's important to remember, if folks take away anything today, is that the U.S. is actively involved, is arming factions, is profiting from the bloodshed of our families' homelands. And these issues are American problems. Their taxpayer dollars, our taxpayer dollars are invested and spent on violence under the guise of more jobs, democratization, or fighting, quote unquote, fighting terrorism. So I really want folks to remember that you have the power to vote the right way, contact your reps, and follow groups led by communities that are directly impacted by these issues. Get involved, but be careful when you get involved, because as Al-Hajj Malika Shabazz said, that if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. So I really want folks to remember that this is not a faraway issue. It's happening over there. This issue is our issue. It's an American problem.
No, I think that's a very well taken point. And on that note, where can folks find the work you all are doing in the Yemeni Alliance Committee if they're looking to find out more and learn how they can advocate?
Yes, please follow us on Instagram or Twitter, Yemeni Alliance Committee. We actually have a letter out to Biden that we want to push out tomorrow. So I encourage organizations to get in touch.
Excellent. Right on. Jehan Hakim, chair of the Yemeni Alliance Committee, thank you so much for giving us some of your time here on the Freedom Side.
Thank you.